So we're going to be talking to you today about how to launch a business in healthcare and become a trusted partner to doctors. The basis of what we do here is medical billing. We call it medical revenue cycle management, and you'll see here that you would become a certified medical revenue manager. But the focus and the centralization of where everything resides is with our IClane and EMRX platform. You can see that this is a web-based system. This is nothing that you have to load on your computer. We're not going to ship you a ton of CDs or DVDs to load into your computer. So we will just give you the access to it so that when your doctor's ready to go, then you can kind of get things started there as well. We're also putting into the chat area. If you'll look over in the chat area, in your little area, it may be at the bottom of your screen for Zoom. We have today's presentation in there. So if you want to go over there, and there's a PDF that you can download right at this time. So again, those that are on the webinar with us today, Kathy, Brandy, Anna, Anthony, Caesar, Frank, and some more folks there, go over to the chat area. Again, it may be down at the bottom of your screen down there. Open up the chat area and you'll see a PDF. You can download that, and you'll also see the link for the webinar for next week. You're not going to want to miss that one as well. So what we're going to do today, we're going to try to take this in about 4 little sections here. So I'm going to briefly go over this with you, because we're going to, first of all, tell you how to launch a business in healthcare. So first thing you're going to need to know is know your solution. We're going to talk about knowing your solution today, and the foundation of that being training. You have to have a competitive edge. Again, what do you have that's different than any other billing company out there in the market? Medical revenue management company out there in the market. You want to make sure that you have something different than anybody else out there in the market. Show your expertise. Now, I know a lot of folks get in this business and you might say to yourself, I'm just now getting started with this in medical billing. What do I do, and how do I get even the first, my foot in the door? Being associated with ABS is going to give you immediately 27 years of experience, because we're here to help you and show that experience. And then lastly, you need to have the support that's second to none. You need to have your own trusted support system in order that the doctors will trust you. Folks, let me just first of all tell you, just as a side chat here real quickly, call this our fireside chat here. The healthcare in and of itself, the whole system, I'm hearing more and more from doctors that the system in and of itself is just broken and they need help. I talked to a doctor who's been in business for 40 years just this last week, told me that for the last 2 years of his practice, they've just broken even. They haven't made one single amount as profit. And boy, there's a lot of doctors out there. So just pay attention to what Patrick and I are going to be telling you this afternoon. Let me tell you about Patrick. Patrick is the founder of American Business Systems. He and his wife both founded this over 30 years ago, but ABS has been around, excuse me, as a business opportunity for over 27 years now, about to enter into our 28th year. Patrick and his wife were doing medical billing prior to all of this, and that's what launched them and gave Patrick the idea, let me teach others how to fish, basically, and that's why we're here today. He's also, in his career, written several books. This is just a sampling of a few of those, and he is also a contributing editor for a magazine called Billing and Coding Magazine. And I'm going to say, without any further ado, I'm going to ask Patrick to join me. Patrick, good to have you here this afternoon. And there he is.
Oh, you thought I wasn't going to show up, didn't you?
I was about to think. I didn't know where you were. So, but it's good to see you, sir.
Yeah, good to see you, Eric. I'm looking forward to this myself, because, folks, if you're looking to get a business started on your own, believe me, you're talking to two of the, well, shall I brag a little bit here, Eric? Yeah, two of the smartest guys in this industry, at least that has to do anything to do with medical billing. That's our expertise, of course, for the last 27 years. But folks, we're going to show you today how to launch this business and become a trusted partner to doctors. Imagine the prestige you'll have in your area of your country, in your city, in your state, in your town, as the person who can solve the cash flow dilemma that doctors are in today. And they're struggling right now, aren't they, Eric?
They are. And like I said, I talked to 3 individual doctors within the last 10 days. And every one of them just says, you know what, the way things are going, we don't know how we're going to stay in business because they just can't keep up. And I tell you that this is a prime opportunity for anybody that's in this field to get your first doctor.
It is. And as you'll see, as we talk through the webinar today, folks, we've got literally several hundred people from coast to coast who've been through our training who will testify to you that they didn't have any background or training, nothing. They knew nothing about this industry. And they've taken this and just run with it. Some of them making 6- and 7-figure revenues in the business, Eric. So we know it works, right? It's a system. All we got to do is just teach people to just follow our system.
Absolutely. Talking about a lot of people do ask this question, is medical billing going to be around? Well, again, revenue cycle management, I mentioned just earlier, is in a growth period. I mean, look at where we are today and where it looks like it's going to be in the next 8 years. Now, a lot of people may not know what a CAGR rating is. But folks, that is basically a rating that you'll see here in just the billions of dollars, if that helps you to kind of understand that. But one of our business coaches I just put his quote here. So Patrick, you want to read that from Jason here and just kind of share what the CAGR is?
Yeah, the CAGR is, a complex formula. It says used to estimate a yearly rate of return. So that 11.22% that you see in that quote above in the big box above it isn't the overall 8-year gain. It is the estimated gain each year for 8 years. Eric, imagine any industry, just name the industry out there that's going to be growing 11% a year for the next 8 years.
Absolutely.
So,
yeah,
it's pretty strong for any industry. That's true.
You bet. I mean, so folks, if you're looking to get into a business now, again, Patrick, you and I used to have a slide that we used to put up there, and we had it was a pie chart, and we just said, you know what, if you had an opportunity to have a little slice of this pie, I'd like to have a little slice of just, $1 billion, let alone 249 billion out of it.
Yeah, I mean, look at that. By the year 2028, look at that, $249 billion. Folks, this is a huge industry. It will always be big as long as there's human beings that get sick and that need medical attention. As long as there's doctors that need to get paid, this business will be around for a long, long time to go.
A long time. And folks, one of the big things here is that we are talking about here, and we wanted to talk about this because the last part of our quote here, or our title of the webinar, is become a trusted partner to doctors. And I want to spend just a little bit of this time, Patrick. People, I think everybody on the call today would probably know this, that people will do business with, they know, like, and trust.
Right.
And so I wanted to put something that's up there as a definition of trust of what it is. And it's basically the belief that someone or something can be relied on to do what they say they will. It's a key element of social relationship and a foundation for cooperation. It's pretty easy for us to understand. And we know that trust can be easily gained, but it can be easily lost. It can be violated. And, here at ABS, being around for 27 years, going on 28 years, number one, ABS can be a company that you can trust because of their longevity of what they've been able to do. And so you've got to understand that building trust with an individual takes time. However, when you become a brand new licensee, how do you get and gain that trust with that doctor? Again, it's with joining with ABS, partnering with ABS, allows you immediately to become a trusted partner. And Patrick, why don't you kind of talk about how you've been able to position a doctor within our organization, of how that's even extended a little bit further?
Well, we do that in several ways. As a company, of course, we have partnered ourselves with a doctor, and it kind of falls into that whole slide you showed earlier. I think that's somewhere coming up again, Eric, which shows all the 4 aspects of being a good partner and starting a business like this. You have to have these 4 things that you see here on the screen to do that. And part of that is being competitive. Well, one of the competitive things we do is we partner you with a doctor. And we'll tell you a little bit more about here as we go along. But the point is that there are lots and lots of ways to show that you're credible by building that credibility through testimonials and sharing with doctors, the tools that we've developed for you to build that credibility. You'll see some of those here in just a second.
You bet. Hey, folks, also, again, let me remind you, we're about 15 minutes into the webinar already. And I told you this hour is going to go by fast. So we're about 45 minutes left here. So be sure to ask your questions as we go through these 4 sections here, because this is we're going to show you how to launch a business in healthcare, and just the success of these 4 steps will help you kind of get kicked off today. So the first thing we're going to talk about is know your solution. Confident people inspire confidence in others. Your confidence begins with a solid foundation. That's training. Patrick, let's talk about training here, because so many people want to know about how training works. And, even though that we've changed our training from coming here to the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which in and of itself was a lot of fun. We had a lot of great memories of having everybody in. We've adapted to everything else. We do our training online. You want to explain how we do that now?
Yeah, as this slide here illustrates, there's always an instructor who's live on the other end. That is, you can see there on the left side, for example, that's supposedly one of our instructors that's doing the training. And then on the right side, you see you and your spouse or partner, actually watching this from any device that's connected to the internet. And it's done in 10 modules that we'll talk about here in just a second. But the point is, everything is done live with a live instructor, and it's just you and that instructor for that whole hour and a half.
Absolutely. And so the advantage that you have with this at this point is that we take you through actually a couple of weeks, maybe it could be even 3 weeks, to kind of go through each of these parts of it. Whereas whenever we used to do our training here, it was 4.5 days, and it was cram packed. It was like drinking from a fire hydrant out of 2 fire hydrants, really what it was,
yeah,
Patrick.
That's right.
But this kind of gives you some time to learn, and then go practice, learn, and go practice, and learn, and go practice. And this is going to be very important for you to understand as we get to the end of the webinar, because of what Patrick has to offer for you as a money-back guarantee. So you got to understand how important this is to kind of spread this training over a few days and even to a couple of weeks.
Yeah, and you know what, Eric, you're showing the modules there, folks. If you just glance at that, I know there's a lot of data and detail, and it's small print on this slide, but the point is we cover a lot. I mean, yes, as you can see, every aspect of the business is covered, and we go into detail, of course, starting in module 5, I think it is there, or 6, showing you exactly how to do the marketing. Now, we'll talk about that a little bit further as we go into the webinar here today, but folks, believe me, we know how important it is that you learn how to go out and get your first client. Well, every client, but the first one is pretty important. And we're just going to hold your hand through that process. As you can see, each one of those modules covers a lot of stuff. There's also some homework. We have a private website that we send you to in the evenings to go and do some more work and study and research. And it's just it's an unending learning situation. But once you've gone through these 10 modules, you'll be certified and get your certification as a medical revenue cycle manager. Yeah,
absolutely. And one of the things that you're going to first learn here is actually how to use the system. Now, I know maybe further on in the webinar today, we're going to show you how important it is for you to see the software right now. So I want to encourage you, if you haven't done this already, to get back with your business coaches you've been working here with, and get with them and say, hey, I'd like to see a demonstration of the IClane and EMRX system. Now, what that's going to show you is that this number one, the system is solid. You don't have to load anything on your computer, but you're going to kind of see the whole process of how things work, and kind of like what we're showing back over here. We've got in module 1 an introduction and practice workflow and introduction to medical billing, going right into IClane overview, get a little taste of that right now before you get started. And the way you do that is just ask for a demonstration of the software. And Patrick, I remember whenever we first launched IClane, gosh, that's been what, 10 years ago, 10, 15 years ago? I can't remember, 12 years ago, I guess it's been.
Yeah, about 12 years ago, yeah.
Yeah, and boy, when we made the change from sending people home with little CDs and to load on their computer and then download stuff and patches and all of that, and gone strictly to a web-based system, really revolutionized what we do here at ABS.
Look, I got this in the mail the other day. It's just a kind of a marketing thing that a guy sent out. I don't know if that's going to come up on this virtual background or not, but anyway, it's a DVD, it's a CD that goes into my computer. Unfortunately, I don't have a DVD player. They don't think you need those with Apple. I think you can buy a little separate one. But the point is, folks, it's old technology, and there are companies out there. Be careful. There are companies that do something similar to what we do, but you get a bunch of DVDs that you have to load on your computer. The software, all the patient data is residing there on your computer, and it's just a nightmare.
So what we're going to show you here is a little bit about the IClane platform. The IClane platform, again, is where you do the billing from. Now, we mentioned earlier about EMRX. Now, EMRX is the side from where the doctors are doing their business from. And Patrick, what has been so ingenious is that before a lot of the other EMR systems were out there, our IClane EMRX system was one of the only ones out there that was completely combined. You didn't have to have a billing software and then merge in or adapt an EMR system. It was all integrated all together, 10 years ago.
Yeah, we actually did that. We had several different modules that we had to connect together for people, because again, we hadn't developed and connected and partnered with this great platform that's completely cloud-based. It literally is in the cloud, and you can log into it from any computer, anywhere in the world, at any time. It doesn't even matter what kind of computer you have, how much memory you have, how much storage. There's nothing about this, folks, that's difficult. If you've ever done banking online or purchased anything on Amazon even, that is a cloud-based system, and that's what we have.
Absolutely. And then it gives you the opportunity to use any different types of a device, whether you're using an iPad or the doctor's using an iPad or a computer. This gives the doctors the opportunity to work directly from their iPad, speak right into it. They can take down all their notes, dictate all their notes. Some doctors like templates. Some doctors don't like templates. Some doctors just like to free type or free talk and just put their information into their EMR. And so we have that customization to be able to have that in there. And again, whenever the doctor gets through seeing the patient, they're able to press one button, and then that whole claim gets ready for you to bill on the other side, being able to send that out. It is a superior platform, and that's what you're going to get to know. You're going to know your solution backwards and forward. That's what's going to help you. And not only that, but all of the other different solutions that we have, you're going to know everything that we have to have for you to give to the doctors, whether it's CodeWrite or Choice Pay. But Patrick, I know I just mentioned CodeWrite. Let's talk about questions that do come up. I don't see any questions right now, but a lot of people want to know, do I have to know coding to actually do what I'm doing here as a medical biller?
Well, I've got licensees that I've interviewed about this, Eric, that they almost laugh when I ask them that question. Well, what did you know about coding? And some of them say, well, I've been in this business now for 3 years and I still don't know much about coding, because you guys have all the codes built into the system. I don't need to know anything about the codes. The doctor doesn't even need to know, because in our electronic medical records, if they're utilizing that, they will be told, here are the codes that you can use. Here's some suggested codes. So it's like it's gone from people needing to learn how to code for a doctor to the doctor being able to code for themselves with the right system.
And so again, we have several different solutions or several different service lines. We've added more. We don't have time today to go through all of them, but some of the just most recent ones that we have, we've got some services that have to do with dental billing now. We've got some other solutions to do with connecting and having the doctors talk, do some communication. We also have what's called remote patient monitoring, which is virtual care. Patrick, I don't think any other business opportunity in healthcare has every solution that we have put together as a full package.
No, I'm sure they don't. We've got 27 years jump start on anything that's out there, Eric. And you're right. This is one of those things where unless you really understand how unbelievable it is that you can solve any problem in the doctor's office. I mean, we've got all these solutions we came up with here, folks. They're all optional. You don't have to offer them to a doctor, but believe me, every one of them is a great way to get your foot in the door and talk to them about various aspects of their practice and how you can improve the revenue. And we have all the solutions to all their cash flow problems.
So learning your solution is part of knowing who your target market is. And let's talk about that, Patrick. Let's kind of talk about what types of doctors could someone go after.
Yeah, the list of specialties that we go through in our training, Eric, covers this in detail, but there's literally dozens of different types of specialties that are out there. Everybody's heard, of some of them, of course, gerontologists, oncologists, urologists. I mean, there's all kinds of ologists that are in doctor offices, and we can help every one of them. If they're filing currently using the current forms that the government requires them to file for Medicare and for general insurance reimbursement, you can bill for them.
You bet you can. So again, any doctor that bills again on that what's called a CMS 1500 form, as Patrick just mentioned, you're able to bill for them. So just whenever you're focusing in on that, and you're going to learn that, and then at the end of your training, you will have a certification as a certified medical revenue manager. Patrick, why is this so important?
Well, because doctors are always looking for certification. They spent $100,000 getting themselves a certificate like this to put on their wall. And everybody needs to feel like that they've been trained enough to where they can be the expert in helping somebody else. For example, if you were working with an insurance agent, you'd want that insurance agent to have gone through the training that they need to go through to be able to tell you the facts about insurance. And this is one of those things that we connected with an organization called MIRMA that we actually helped found this whole organization. But this is the Medical Revenue Management Association of America that actually does the certification and that backs up and certifies all the training that people go through. So once you've gotten this certification, folks, you're not just a medical biller. You're a medical revenue manager. That means you can manage every aspect of the medical practice and their revenue to get it to where it needs to be.
Absolutely. And again, this is some important, again, on another side of it, that when you're printing your business cards or you're putting any of your marketing together, you can put your first and last name and then CMRM. And when people ask you what that is, well, you just simply say, hey, I'm a certified medical revenue manager. And so that's what this is all about. So you want those initials at the end of your name, and we can certainly help you with that. Number two, we're going to want you to show your expertise. A strong marketing presence reflects your confidence. And that's what a lot of people need right off the bat, Patrick. I know a lot of people kind of get into this. They're excited about it. But I think one of the best things that ABS does through not only the training, but through the marketing pieces that we have, helps build a confidence that I've never seen hardly in any other business or franchise out there.
I think that's a big factor in why some people fail in starting a business, Eric, that lack of confidence and not feeling like they are the expert.
Right.
What if I get asked a question I don't know how to answer, for example? Well, folks, you have us, the nation's largest network of independent medical billing companies behind you. We have 27 years and hundreds and thousands of hours, really, between all of us, Eric. You and I together probably have several thousand years of expertise.
I like it.
You can't be asked a question that we can't help you answer. Plus, we have tools like the ones we're showing here on this slide that really help you to get that message across to a doctor. We have a flip chart, an actual, yes, I know it's kind of old school, but we have a flip chart that you can use in some situations. And of course, it's done electronically, like on an iPad, like you see here. This means that we have the presentation for the doctor and exactly what you should say to the doctor all worked out ahead of time. That's just part of what we go through in our training.
And what helps you, this kind of just helps you kind of get some things going. Now, Patrick, I know I'm gonna kind of give a little secret away here. You talk about in training, and one of the things that you developed with this little flip chart or with the presentation that can be converted into the iPad, and you're telling brand new licensees just to share this with your warm market. What does that mean to share with your warm market?
Yeah, your warm market is everybody that you know personally, friends, relatives, enemies, people at work, people at school. It doesn't matter because you're not looking to sign them up for some of your services. What you're doing is educating them as to what you can do for doctors in your area. And believe it or not, a lot of our licensees, Eric, I would say a huge majority of our licensees get their first client through their warm market connections because those people, once they see what you can do, say, look, I've even had my doctor, or I've heard my office manager there at my doctor's office talking about their problems with Medicare and with insurance and collecting money and so forth from patients. We can help with all that, you see, and that puts that thought in people's minds when they hear your presentation. Oh, well, look, I know a doctor. My cousin is a chiropractor. He needs some help. So
Exactly.
That's where you get these connections through people that you already know.
And that's why it's important for you to understand the people will do business with who they know, like, and trust. And if you get a referral from one of your warm market people, that helps you excel into that new spot there to show your expertise. And then on the other side of that is whenever it's time for the doctor to say, hey, Patrick, let me see, can you show me a demonstration of it? And I remember, Patrick, gosh, again, we started this several years back as well. And we came up with the idea, how about we do the demos for our business owners, our licensees, for them. And that has been the best thing because, again, a brand new person that comes into ABS as a new business owner, you don't necessarily know the software as well as we know the software. And that's hopefully you're starting to see us paint this picture of getting you positioned as a trusted vendor for these doctors. That's what you become. And you're doing that through a team. That's why, like I mentioned earlier, becoming part of the ABS family puts you in a position already to be a trusted vendor and a trusted person there for the doctors. So these demos that we do for you, Patrick, gosh, you and I came up with this idea again to say, hey, what else can we do to support our licensees? And we came up and said, hey, let's just start doing our own demos for our people.
Yeah, so Eric, the great thing about these demos, number one, they don't cost our business owners, our licensees, anything. You can have as many of these demos done by our demonstrator people here at our office for doctors that you are trying to educate about this system. We'll do as many of those as you want. And Eric, the last I heard, we're still closing about half of all the demos that we do for doctors. Those doctors go on to actually, sign up and become clients of our business owner licensees. So it's a wonderful, wonderful way for us to hold your hand and be partners with you. You see, that gives you huge credibility because you say, let me set this up with my demos department, the people in our department that can do the demo. And so you've got somebody, a third party, who's actually doing that for the doctor, answering all their questions. You can be on there as well, of course, from your computer at the same time, just like everybody's on here today. And you're watching and hearing all the questions that the doctor asks, all the answers that we give. And Eric, it's just a fantastic way to help our licensees grow their business as fast as possible.
You bet. Patrick, before we go to the next slide here, I think it's important. There was a couple of questions that come in. I've answered one of them. And Anthony's asking some questions about the certification. And he asked the question, is the CMRM a state certification? And I typed back in it, it's a national certification. And the national department that does that is the MIRMA group, the organization that actually puts out the certification. It is a national certification there. But he also asked a question about ABS. Is ABS a franchise or a franchisor? You want to explain why you are not a franchise versus a business opportunity?
Yes, in fact, I'm just putting in the chat window a link to the website for the MIRMA organization.
Good, thank you.
If people want to go look at that and find out more about it, MIRMA, the Medical Revenue Management Association of America. Now, Eric, you're talking about a franchise. It's weird because I do have people ask that question a lot about, are we a franchisor? Well, technically, legally, we're not a franchise because number one, we don't charge any kind of fee for a territory. Your territory is the entire United States. There are no limits to what doctors you can sign up as long as they practice in the United States. And number two, we don't have any royalties. We don't have any ongoing payments to us as a company at all. Nothing, Eric. There's absolutely no ongoing fees for anything: support, training, demos, new ideas, new documents, new services that come along, users, upgrades to the software, backups. All of that's included, folks. There is no nickel and diming people. After they've paid our one-time licensing fee of $28,000, we basically are theirs forever. As long as they're a licensee and doing business with us, we're going to support them. Hey, and by the way, I just mentioned the price. I shouldn't have done that, Eric, because as you know, it's going up soon. So
yeah, what's it going up to? $58,000?
Well, my son knows that I know what the value of this thing is as we add all these new services like remote patient monitoring and so forth, and dental billing. Folks, we've added those and not gone up at all on our licensing. Right. All of our existing licensees all got these new items and features at no cost to them whatsoever. But we have to cover those costs because we also have coaches, which we're going to talk about here in just a moment. We have people that we pay to help you build your business, and that costs money. So even though we don't really have to sell any more licenses if we don't want to as a company, we make money on the back end, the fees that the doctors pay to access the system and so forth. That covers our back end costs. But we continue to do that because we still need some money to give to those people who are our business coaches and advisors.
And let's talk about one right now. That's Dr.
Vicki Ragnar. Yeah. Now, Vicki, if you go out there and do a search on her, you'll see she's written several books. You'll see those on the left side of that little picture there. And then on the right side, you see all the different magazines and newspapers and radio stations that have interviewed Dr. Vicki. She's very famous. She speaks to doctors groups all over the United States. She practiced for about 20 years and saw thousands of patients during that time. And now she helps us and anyone who wants to connect with doctors in business of any way. She's basically helping us and our business owners as a partner. That doesn't cost you anything extra, folks. That's included in your license to be partners with a doctor. And in fact, you can actually use some of the marketing books that we've written with Dr. Vicki Ragnar. Here's one of them, The New Thriving Medical Practice, and have your name right on the front cover. We've got a forward that you can put in front of your name, or you can write your own. But the point is, you can now be published on a book that you're going to give to the doctor to educate the doctor on all that we can do for them. And it's a great gift and a great giveaway.
And it's the best business card you'll ever hand out, if you think about it. Yeah. I mean, to have your name on the front of a book that's written and co-authored with Patrick, Dr. Vicki Ragnar, that is an incredible, part about building trust. Because again, as we know, we've been around this long enough to know that doctors like to hear from other doctors. And that's why we have chosen to have this book written by a doctor, and then with you writing the forward to the book. Now, again, you have the freedom, if you'd like to, change that forward if you'd like to. We have the forward pre-written for you. But there are some people who say, you know what, I think I'd like to write my own. And you're more than happy and we'll help you with that to make sure that it's proper and it needs to be formatted all together. But you can see Patrick is circling those areas where your name would go with CMRM after it. So you can see the connectivity of what we're trying to do. We're trying to connect everything together so that it does, again, show your expertise, and it helps build trust as you're going out there getting the marketing done as quickly as possible. Now, Anthony, you asked a great question here, but I'm going to hold off on that question here just for a little bit, because I don't want to get too distracted from where we're going next here. So let's talk about having a competitive edge. We talked about all the things that we're going to do. You got to know what you got to know. You got to have the training, so you got to know how to deliver what you've got. But then you have to have a competitive edge, and absolutely know you have to have a competitive edge out there. Your confidence will stand strong against all others. So let me share with you, before we kind of explain again about the IClane EMRX system and why that's going to present to you and give you a competitive edge. Because the typical billing scenario is that you've got a piece of software that, again, that you probably, with a lot of other business opportunities out there in medical billing, you're going to have to load onto your computer. Then you're going to have to load patches on top of that, and then make sure that you take care of all of the security. Then when you've got all that and it's all working together, then when you process a claim, it doesn't go directly to the insurance companies. It's going to go to a place called a clearinghouse, which they will tell you that that's the better choice, that you get to go choose whatever clearinghouse that you want to. Not so for here, as we kind of go through this, because once you get through that, then your claim will actually end up going to one of the insurance companies out there. This is the typical situation that you normally see out there. The competitive edge for us is that inside of IClane, one of the things that we didn't mention earlier, we already told you that it's a web-based system, but one we didn't tell you is that it's a web-based billing system and clearinghouse combined, which means you don't have to go search for an additional clearinghouse. So imagine now that you've got access directly to all of the insurance companies. You don't have to go fight with an outsourced clearinghouse somewhere else. You are the clearinghouse. Folks, let me tell you, that is a huge competitive edge. Patrick, you want to share any more about that?
Yeah, well, it's a competitive edge because we get the doctor paid faster and more money.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and with more money, is what Patrick is saying, is that you're not going to get claims that are going to get tied up at a clearinghouse and get rejected. We're able to see everything right directly inside the system. So you'll have this whole claim scrubbing and submission directly into your platform. It's nothing that you have to add into it.
Yeah, that's right. And the reason all this is all integrated like this is because we don't want you to have to worry about your competition out there saying that they have something that's more technologically advanced beyond ours. Folks, ours is the most technologically advanced system that we know of out there, and the only one that has the clearinghouse built in. So there's the two reasons why that would give you confidence, is you can get less than 2% rejected claims. Eric, some companies and other organizations out there are claiming that there's probably anywhere from 20 to 30% rejection on initial claims that are submitted through clearinghouses. We can get that down to less than 2% because it's our clearinghouse. We're in charge. The buck stops here, right?
Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely.
And then, of course, we get the money for the doctors paid in 7 to 10 days. That's unheard of in the industry as well. Usually going through a clearinghouse because of the third party involved and everything, that could take 30 to 45 days for most doctors to even think about getting paid on those claims. We can get them in 7 to 10 days.
Yes, absolutely. And folks, again, remember earlier I mentioned to you that there's some doctors that they're just breaking even, and some that are even worse than that. And getting paid quicker is a huge advantage out there in the market. Let's talk real quickly, as our last one here is about support that we say is second to none. Trusting in your unlimited support will carry your confidence to completion. And so let's talk about that. Patrick, at one time, I remember 14, 15 years ago, we used to have a 2-year support, a limited 2-year support. But you came back and said,
yeah, why don't we just make it completely unlimited? And
yeah.
of course, some of my staff said, what is wrong with you, Patrick? We can't support people forever, can we? Well, I said, well, look, we make money on the back end on those services that they offer to the doctors. We make a few pennies on every transaction. So why wouldn't we want them to sign up more doctors and have more transactions? So that's where that came from. And Eric, it has turned out to be the best decision we made, because now people who are wondering, well, what happens after the first year or the second year? Some companies limit that and then charge another. Well, there's one company out there, Eric, charging another $1,300 a year for support. We just don't believe in nickel and diming our people like that. And so that's why we've got 27 years of experience that we can pass on to you. And that means you can't come up with anything that we can't help you solve.
Right. And again, with 27 years of experience, I mean, folks, that's where the support is being based upon, because again, you know, marketing to doctors hasn't really changed over 27 years. Now, there's some new creative ways in which we're doing that, especially because of the COVID incident that we had a couple of years ago. We've had to adapt and change and create some new ways to market to the doctors, but that's the experience that you get. Don't try to go use, you know, really old marketing techniques when we know that that's not going to work. So ride the coattails of ABS. Now, Patrick, you mentioned earlier about training, and then that there's additional training through the licensee support site. Talk to us about this.
Yeah, we've set up this site about, 10, 12 years ago, 2014, I think is when we set it up. But anyway, the point is, we've got dozens and dozens of different training modules on this website just for our licensees. You'll have your own login, of course, and password to this. But folks, it's just filled with documents, marketing materials, webinars, interviews, ideas from other licensees. It's got a ton of stuff out there. And this is, again, available to all of our business owners for life.
Right. For life. I mean, and it has every, you know, a lot of licensees or a lot of our brand new business owners need some help building contracts. All of our contracts are in here that you're going to need to engage with the doctor, all the proposals, everything that you're going to need, all your marketing things that you're going to need, marketing material that you can download, marketing material that you can reorder if you need more than what you get here as the part of the business package here. Everything is there, videos, interviews, past webinars, you know, that kind of help you get launched in a specific area. That's what this licensee support is all about. And it's chock full of information. And on top of that, when you need live support, I think I wanted to share this with you, is that, again, you know, some people are probably thinking, oh, great, all of my support is just online and it's through some website. When you need marketing support or billing support or ABS network support, we actually have a complete support team led by a gentleman that has been a licensee for quite some time already, who knows the ins and outs of every aspect of support, whether it's marketing, billing, or just how to get supported through the network here.
Yeah, and we do that, folks, again, because we want you to be successful. So as we add new services, new marketing ideas, that's all added here to our licensee support site and available to you anytime, 24/7. So it's a great resource for you. Then we have, of course, I don't know that we've actually got a slide for this, but we've actually got a Facebook group, Eric, that we started a few years back. And we've got a couple hundred of our licensee business owners that are on there, active, communicating with one another, asking questions, pointing out different resources. It's a wonderful way to get support. And that's all included, of course, as well. No additional charges, folks. Don't ask what anything costs extra, because there is no cost for anything extra.
Absolutely. And part of your live support is that you're going to get, because you're going to learn how to do these, like what we're showing you right here, you're going to learn how to do what's called a practice analysis. And that practice analysis is gathering data from that doctor. So it's like you're interviewing the doctor.
Eric, I'm sorry. I think your slides are paused. There we go. Yep.
Got it. So it's this questionnaire that we're going to teach you to how to work through the doctors. And it's just questions, and you're just going to gather all this information. Once you gather this information, you're going to put it in what's called a practice revenue report. Now, folks, those of you who are afraid of selling, just kind of put that on the back shelf a little bit, because you're really not selling anything except for one thing. And you can see that it's at the bottom. It's the doctor's money that they're missing. If you just kind of think of that, that's what you're actually selling. You're going to find out that selling money is fairly easy, if there's any selling to go with this.
Yeah, I mean, look at this bottom line figure down here. I think it's 120. Oh, I got the wrong tool. I think it's $122,000, folks. That's the increased revenue per year that we could show this particular doctor. Now, let that sink in just for a second. That is a lot of extra revenue. And Eric, if it were half that, if I were a doctor, I'd still want to know more, wouldn't you? I'd want to look into this and give it a try at least.
You bet. You've been doing some drawing here. I'm going to kind of just, again, spot out what that looks like there. I'm going to use this little spotlight right there and see if that'll help right there. Okay. That's what they're typically we're bringing in, with $17,500 a month. With our system and changing things up, we're going to increase that from $17,500 to $27,702. That's where you can see on a monthly basis adding another $10,000 a month to their bottom line. And that's, folks, that's what sells this. This is what we do. And again, your marketing support people are going to show you how to get that done. That's what you're getting, and that's what all the things that Patrick's been saying that you don't have to pay for after the $28,000 investment. This is what you're getting. You're getting someone to kind of coach you along all through these steps. Again, you've got ways for you to, remember earlier we talked to you about setting up a demo. On the licensee support site, you're going to see how to go order that and get that set up. It's all right there so that you can present your IClane EMRX live demo. Plus, on top of that, every one of our business partners, our technology partners, has their own support to help support all of our ABS licensees. Patrick, this is like you took this picture of the folks that help support the billing side of IClane.
Yeah, you and I were out there at our one of our partners in California, and we took this picture because I thought, well, I said, what is this department here? And the guy said, well, this is our billing support department. And as you can see, there's dozens of people there. We have people in Florida that support people on other services. We've really got people from coast to coast, Eric. We are a virtual company. And so we can literally say we have dozens, maybe hundreds of people that are able to support our licensees. It takes, a lot of people to, behind the scenes, make sure that you have all that you need to be successful in this business. We've got them. They're already there in place.
Yeah. And part of that is, again, one of the other things we mentioned was the coding and auditing training. You're going to learn all of that. But again, our certified professional coders will do everything for you. Again, for those that are getting this business and you're wondering, gosh, I've read online, I've done some research, and I'm trying to figure out how am I going to get this training? Am I going to need to know coding? And you hear, yes, if you're going to get into this business, you need to know coding. Why don't you just have experts that do that? That's what they do, and that's what we've been able to partner with. We've got people who we partner with certified professional coders. We've got an entire team to do coding audits. So we do all of that. We can do part of that. And I tell you, this is a great service right here, especially when you're getting started with a doctor. Let's say that you get started with a brand new doctor and you say, hey, doc, let's just do a kind of an audit of where you are so we'll know where to fix this. And the doctors will pay for this. It's a service. You don't want to give anything away for free because you don't want to devalue yourself. So again, having all of this part of your plan of action moving forward, I think sometimes, Patrick, a lot of our brand new business owners, they hear this through these webinars that we talk about, but they tend to forget them once they become part of ABS. So remember what I just said. So go back and utilize every one of these support mechanisms as you move forward.
Yeah. And then there's quick collect. This is a great one, Eric, because doctors only collect about half of all the money that they
Right.
bill to patients.
Yes. And you're getting support on all of these: choice pay, iDocs now, everything that you can see here. Everybody's worried about HIPAA compliancy. How are you going to get supporting all that? Everything's in there. That's just part of what you do. And Patrick, you mentioned just a moment ago about a Facebook page. Tell us about ABS, the other ABS business owners. I mean, you mentioned that now, people are going to be part of this. You got business owners coast to coast, and they're really to help brand new business owners.
Yeah, well, like you say on the next slide there, Eric, these other licensees that we have from coast to coast that are also coaches for new licensees, they're not your competition. They're your network of support. In fact, that
You're
next
right.
slide shows some of them, Eric. These are real people that are from coast to coast, licensees that have been in this business, some of them for several years. One of them there, I see at least for 10 years has been in this business.
Yeah.
And remember, we've been around for 27 years. So these people are seasoned experts in running medical billing businesses. And we pay them good money to be coaches and support people for our existing licensees. So folks, you're going to be you can hold the hand of somebody who's already very successful and let us, show them how to help you be as successful as you possibly can be. And that's because, again, we're supporting them behind the scenes as well.
You bet. And Patrick, earlier I mentioned about taking your time through that training. Again, we used to do training in 4.5 days. At the end of that training, you would tell people then, I'll give you your money back if you don't like what you're doing. But again, your generosity, your heart, you've actually extended that through this online training that people actually have 2 weeks, if not more than 3 weeks, because it's not going to take that long to get the training, but extended that at the end of their training, you're willing to give your money back. Why would you do such a thing? Why would you do that?
That's what my staff asked too when I came up with
Why would you do that?
Yeah, why would you do this? Because no other company that we know of, Eric, in franchising or business opportunities that are out there, we don't know of one other company that offers a money back guarantee. Why? Well, because there's too much involved. There's too many costs involved in getting somebody trained and up to speed. Since we do this virtually, yes, we have some costs involved in that. But the point is, we're willing to let you go through the entire training, all 10 modules, all 15 hours of training. And if at the end of the training, you say, you know what, this just is not what I thought it was going to be, we'll just give you your money back and move on.
Yeah.
We know that there's something out there that's better for you, obviously, than our company. And yet we also know, Eric, we can offer this because we know what we have.
Right.
We're sincere enough to tell people, look, we're not perfect. There's going to be some people that this might not be right for. And if that's the case, then we're going to give you your money back. We're going to part as friends and wish you the best.
That's the best thing that you can do. And folks, a lot of people always ask, boy, where's the old fashioned just handshake and just do a deal? And you just got it. This is it. And this will be around for as long as ABS is around, because again, the support that you're getting from your business coaches right now that you're talking to, the webinars that we do for you every single week, every Wednesday, we're steady as the sun comes up and down. We do this every single Wednesday. We'll do it the Wednesday before Thanksgiving. We'll do it on days that have holidays that fall on Wednesdays. This is what we do because we believe in what we do and we know it's important for you to have it. So Patrick, let's talk about some of their next steps that they could do. We can answer a few more questions as we kind of get to the end, but why don't you take the next couple of minutes here and just kind of step people through what they should be doing for the next steps.
Yeah, this download guide here called a research guide, you can download this from us once you contact your ABS rep. If you don't know who that is, there's our email address and our phone number there. You can call them right now if you want to and just find out. Say, who's my ABS rep that I should contact? And we'll look that up for you. Or you can go back to the email that invited you to this webinar. That's probably the person who sent you that email. But the point is, folks, that this guide is about 50 pages of information that you will not find on our website. It's new information, way beyond what we have on our website, and it's only for people who we think are really sincerely interested and qualified in some ways to be involved in our business. So just ask your ABS rep for that, and they'll send that to you. Then number two, just be sure and browse our YouTube channel. There it is right there on the screen, folks. If you want to, you can go look at it right now, youtube.com. Then put a /YABS, WHYABS, YABS. And folks, that has more videos and things there to watch than you would ever have time for.
Absolutely.
We have what, 10, 12 years of videos out there. So there's lots of information to learn just from going to that.
Absolutely.
Number three, ask your ABS rep for an owner's reference list. Yeah, we've got people like those folks we just showed you pictures of. I think most of those are on that list, Eric. In fact, you can basically call them up and ask them any question you want to. They're in business for themselves, so they'll tell you whatever they want to tell you. We don't tell them what to say. And these are folks, again, who appreciate what we've done for them so much, they're willing to take some of those calls. So be sure and ask for that list as well. Next, ask for that live demo. Eric said earlier, we'll be glad to give that to you. This will be the basic demo that we give to your doctor, prospective doctors. So go through that with us. Let us take 45 minutes, an hour, whatever it takes to answer all your questions about our online cloud-based system. We'll show that to you one-on-one. Then the next step is review the purchase agreement. You get that from your ABS rep as well. Just ask for the purchase agreement and the funding instructions. And then once you've gotten that and put all your funding together, just send it in and basically schedule your training. You'll be able to talk to the actual trainer who's going to be doing your training through those 10 modules. You'll be able to connect with them and just talk to them about when would be the best times for y'all to connect and do these training sessions. It's very flexible. We're very, Eric, even though we've got a lot of people going through the training right now, I think probably because there's a price increase coming up probably around the first of the year for our package. People are wanting to get their training done. Here it is already November. It'll be the end of the year before we realize that. And then the price goes up.
Absolutely.
I think our package should be, our system should sell for about $40,000, Eric. That's my gut feeling about it. But again, I have other people involved in the business that say, look, let's keep it down there where it's reasonable. People can come up with 28,000 fairly easy, probably with 2 or 3 credit cards or maybe a loan from some of their relatives or whatever. And so we've kept it at that. But those trainings are filling up fast, but we're very flexible in working with you as to exactly when you want to do your training.